All right, everyone. So, this is our summary of books 13, 14, 15, and 16 of the Odyssey. So, I hope you guys really like it. And you said you wanted to see a video of me, so here I am. And I've got Bubbles here, so she'll probably walk across me any minute now. So, let's get started. Book 13 is called Ithaca at Last because at last Odysseus is there on Ithaca. He finishes his story. Alcinous sends him home with lots and lots of gifts, and he actually falls asleep on the trip. So the Phaeacians unload all the bounty and unload all the gifts, and they just like pick up sleeping Odysseus and drop him on the island. As they head home, Poseidon sees them and he becomes extremely angry that he helped Odysseus. And open your book, flip back to page 209, where I pointed out that passage about the prophecy. The prophecy comes true, in which the ship is destroyed in the harbor and like boulders are put into their harbor, and the king vows to never help castaways ever again. And they don't, and they immediately like sacrifice mea culpas to Poseidon as a way of saying that they're sorry. Athena creates a fog so Odysseus doesn't actually know where he is, and there's a little comic moment where he thinks that the Phaeacians have tricked him. She comes to him in the form of a shepherd boy and begins asking who he is, and he lies and makes up some sort of cover story. And remember that he was warned to do this by Agamemnon, who in the underworld, who said like, go home in secret, don't let anyone know that you're back. And Athena actually calls him out on like, you little trickster, you little smarty pants. And then she reveals herself and says, I'm your patron goddess, I'm here to help you. And so she puts him in a disguise and makes him look like an old beggar, and she instructs him to go see the old swineherd Eumaeus. That leads into book 14, The Loyal Swineherd, which is our first encounter with Eumaeus. He immediately greets the beggar very kindly, and he speaks very highly of his master, Odysseus, like, oh, I wish my master was here, blah, blah, blah. He offers everything he has to offer. True example of Xenia. And he uses this encounter to gather intel on the suitors back in to the palace, but also to kind of feel out how loyal Eumaeus actually is. He reports to her, or he reports to Odysseus the beggar, that Penelope has been tricked by people in the past with news of her husband. Tells him that the suitors are eating everything, and that how low the herds are getting now because of how they're eating, and also reports on how Telemachus is doing, and speaks very, very highly of Telemachus as well. As the old beggar, he comes up with a whole new cover story for Timaeus, claiming to have been at Troy. And with this story, some parts of it are actually true. Eumaeus is rightfully wary of this story, hearing of the beggar telling him where Odysseus is, because so many people have come to Ithaca in the past with news of Odysseus, and it's all been false. But throughout this, he never breaks Xenia. He offers the choice parts of meat to the beggar, and even offers the cloak on his back for him to sit on. And Odysseus is incredibly touched by Eumaeus's loyalty to the family and to the home itself. Book 15, the prince sets sail for home. It starts back at Sparta with Nestor's son. Athena goes to him in a dream and warns him, like, you need to go home, but don't go directly home. The suitors are going to kill you. And when you get home, you need to go directly to your old swineherd. So he goes to Menelaus and says, I need to get home. Menelaus, Xenia, offers him lots of gifts. One of note is that Helen offers him a beautiful robe for his future wife. And while they're there, an eagle comes by with a white goose, and Helen interprets that sign as Odysseus is going to come home and seek vengeance. He swings by Pylos to go drop off Nestor's son, and while he's there, this prophet Theoclymenus asks for a ride. Like, there's this little side narrative of this guy that's like, hey, I killed a man and I need a ride. Can I go with you? And Telemachus is like, sure, jump on my ship. Back on Ithaca, Odysseus, still as the beggar, asks about whether or not he could go begging at the palace, and Eumaeus says, no, you don't want to do that because the suitors will be really bad to you. He asks about how are Odysseus's parents, and Eumaeus gives him the update about Laertes wasting away in sadness and the mother dying. We get updates on just how despondent and sad Penelope is, and Eumaeus' sad backstory is revealed as well. He is kind of an interesting character. When he was a kid, he was kidnapped and then sold into slavery, and then as this is all as a little boy, he was then purchased by Laertes, but then raised right beside one of Odysseus's siblings raised alongside his sister. So he sees the family as surrogate parents, and he's been set up very nicely on the land, taking like with his own hut, taking care of the animals there. At the end of the book, Telemachus lands on Ithaca. Oh dang! Telemachus lands on Ithaca, and there's an omen of a hawk holding a dove, and Theoclymenus, this prophet, interprets the story or interprets the omen and says like, "Oh, your family's gonna get vengeance. The gods are on your side." So again, the birds are always a sign for us. Father and son, Telemachus goes straight to Eumaeus upon landing, and the swineherd greets him weeping. This is evident to us that Eumaeus has basically been a father figure to Telemachus in absence of Odysseus. And like father, like son, Telemachus is there checking in on things before he goes back to the hall. Telemachus is incredibly polite to this beggar Odysseus and says that he worries for his safety if he were to go to the hall. We discover why Telemachus has no brothers. It apparently is like decreed by Zeus that the family line, will have only one son. So there was just Laertes, and he had no brothers, and then just Odysseus, and he had no brothers, and then Telemachus himself has no brothers. It was an edict by Zeus. When Eumaeus leaves to go tell Penelope that Telemachus is back, Athena reveals Odysseus for Telemachus, and he actually like doesn't believe him at first, but then we have that like Telemachus, I am your father type of moment. And then there's sobbing and weeping and feels, and we all feel good about ourselves. The amount of suitors is actually revealed. If I did my math correctly, it's 114. And Telemachus is like, those are some pretty good odds. But Odysseus orders him to go home and mingle amongst the suitors. Orders him to go and lock up the weapons, but leave out enough for Odysseus and Telemachus and the swineherd to make battle, but to tell no one. That he is back. Absolutely no one whatsoever. Back at the palace, Penelope does learn that her son is back, and the suitors have also found out, and they are rightfully ticked. And Antinous actually wants to just murder and plunder the house. Let's kill the son, take everything we want. Whoever wants Penelope can have her, but we're gonna just loot this place. Amphinomus is the suitor who is the voice of reason, and we will see this again in the epic, that Amphinomus is the one who's like, how about we not? But then he says like, I don't want to kill Telemachus. I'll only kill Telemachus if it's Zeus' decree. And then all the other suitors are like, okay. Penelope hears their plan and calls them out for it, and Eurymachus is the smooth talker of the suitors and calms her down and says, "Oh no, we don't want to hurt your son whatsoever." But all the time in his mind, he's like, like plotting murder. So she goes to sleep, weeping. Athena helps her go to sleep. And then Athena goes back to the hut and changes Odysseus back into beggar form. So book 17 will take us back to back at the hut with Eumaeus, Telemachus, and Odysseus in the beggar form. And he's going to go to the house in his beggar form, and stuff's going to get real. So thanks for watching.